Hi folks, this is Vicki at Pattern Princess. Today I wanted to show you how to do this really pretty rib stitch. This is called the half double crochet ribbed stitch, and it is worked in the third loop, and it does not involve slip stitches. I tried a number of different patterns before I tried this one, and they all called for like a slip stitch, and I just felt it was a little bit tedious, time consuming, and I had a hard time with my stitches pulling through. It did not go as nice as this one. This one is, you're just working a normal half double crochet, but it's just the placement of the stitch. This is nice. This is a knitted look. I should back up. This is a knitted look, but it is not knitted. It is crocheted. And of course, if you're a knitter, you're going to say, oh, it's not knitted. Yes, that's true. This should give a little bit more stretch and give to your work. This here, though, is crocheted in cotton. It's a peaches and cream cotton, and I thought that you could see the stitches easier with that. And this here is done in Caron Simply Soft, and it does have quite a little bit more stretch. This is nice for a brim of a hat, the cuffs of a glove or a sweater, or the front part of the cardigan. It would be nice around a blanket. A baby blanket is nice and squishy. This is about a medium weight yarn, and this is very nice and soft and squishy, and I really love the stitch in this. In fact, I just got through finishing up a scarf here that I need to write the pattern up for yet, using the same stitch, and it's more of a blue teal color, just very nice, deep and rich. And you see how nice these ridges are, and it does have some give, just a little bit. And this, I'm using the same stitch as what I'm going to be showing you today. And if you're gonna, I want to talk about the way that the stitches run. If you're going to like make a sweater out of this stitch, you would not want to make a sweater with the stitches worked horizontally from the top to the bottom or the bottom of the top, because your ridges run in the way that you're working the stitches. So this is how they're worked. This is a smaller, just a little square of what I have, and the ridge happens every other row on the side that you're on. Every row it's on a different side. So every other row you're going to have it show up on this side. Every other row you'll have the ridge show up on this side. And it's more prominent in this cotton yarn. Whereas here, I don't think that you notice it, the spacing between the two ridges does not seem to be as pronounced, just a little bit more, because I think that the yarn is obviously more soft and giving. So this one here looks a little bit more like a knit look than this does, even though it's the same stitch. So what I'm saying is, if you want to work a hat, this is good. I've seen beanies in this. In fact, I'm going to probably make a couple beanies in this. You're going to want to work vertically. So think of your rows going up and down. So you're going to work from side to side, not top to bottom or bottom to top. So think about your patterns, how you're going to be working it from side to side, because your rows need to be crocheted in the direction that you want these ridges to go. Okay, so I just want to make sure that you got that one. And again, this is worked in a cotton yarn. This is Caron Simply Soft. I chose this yarn because I want you to be able to see the stitches as I'm crocheting it. All right, so these are my swatches. I've kind of done a couple different swatches so you can see it. It'd be nice on a variegated yarn. I have not used it on a thick, bulky yarn. It might be okay. I'm not 100% positive how stretchy it would be. I guess I'm going to have to try that out for you folks and let you know. But let me get going here. I'm just going to do a small swatch. Probably, and your stitch count at the beginning can be any number of stitches. Even stitches, odd stitches, it really doesn't matter. Okay, so I'll just do like 10, just so you can kind of get the concept. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. Now the first row, we're just gonna do half double crochet stitches. So we're gonna yarn over and skip this one and this one. So in the third stitch, we're going to do a half double crochet. Those stitches that you skipped over, they do count as a half double crochet. All right, yarn over and we'll go to the next stitch. and yarn over, and we pull through all 3 stitches in the half double crochet, yarn over, insert our hook, yarn over and pull through all the stitches, and we're just going to keep working our half double crochets all the way to the end. So that's really simple. There we go. Just 2 more left, it looks like. And when I wrote the pattern, I actually, it's actually a repeat, because I've already written the pattern. It's actually a repeat stitch of the second row. But I have it as a 3rd row because technically when you're crocheting back this way, for the first row, you're crocheting into the, you're ending the stitch with a top stitch of the 2 stitches that you skipped, okay? So that makes the directions just a little bit different. Otherwise, it's the same row, it's the same thing, because in the next rows, you just make sure that you crochet into the last stitch. So let me talk about the anatomy of this stitch here so you understand where we're crocheting. So when I'm crocheting this way, okay, I'm crocheting on this row, I turned it back. This is my front loop, this is my back loop. Then there's a back here, and when you work the half double crochet back here, there's another loop back here that's formed, okay? Some people call it the back loop, the third loop. Some people call it an extra loop. The single crochet is not going to have this loop to work in, okay? So now I'm going to turn it. When I turn it, this now becomes my front loop. This now becomes my back loop. And normally when you're crocheting, you're going to work into the both loops like that, right? Unless the pattern tells you to work into the back loop, so you have a little bit of definition with a ridge. In this pattern, we're going to work, it's going to be called the 3rd loop, and it's actually in the front now because we turned it. All of this, there's like a little slant stitch here, and here's the first one. This is the stitch we're going to work into, and when we do work into that stitch, the stitches that are behind it get pushed forward, and that creates this ridge because the stitches get pushed forward. Do you see that? And that gives you your ridge. So the stitches here that are on top, the top 2 loops, will get pushed forward the next go around. And here's the other one where we pushed them forward this way as we're working on it. But as we turn it, every other row, they're getting pushed forward. Okay, so now let me back up and let's work on a stitch here. I just wanted to make sure you got that part of it. Okay, so we're going to chain 1, just to kind of give us, it's a turning chain, it does not count, it just gives us enough room to work in this first stitch here. So I'm going to yarn over, and then right here in this first stitch, right here, I don't want to just use my fingers, I want to, got to get my little needle again. I want to make sure you know exactly where I'm working. This is your top 2 loops of that stitch. This is that front loop of that stitch. Right here is where we're going to put our hook. Okay, so in that very first stitch right here, we're going to insert our hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through all the loops on the hook. Your first stitch is done. Yarn over. Now we go to the next one. It's right here. It's a little slanty. If you turn it up a little bit, you're going to see those are the top 2 loops. So right here is your next stitch. Okay, and then you work your half double crochet. So half double crochet in every single 3rd loop. And then when you come to the very end, I know that some people are really, I'm going to sound really bad. I'm probably more particular about where you would think I would be more particular about where they place their stitch in the last loop, but I swear you cannot tell. I just find a space and I jam it in. And each space, one of the ways you can tell that you're doing it right is you have a stitch above. You are above every single stitch, okay? So, and you can also count. So we got a stitch here, and then we got to do another so we can count. So we had 10 stitches that we started with. So we can count. So this is that chain 1 that doesn't count as anything. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, sorry. Somebody was knocking at the door. So let's count again. So I can just count my posts here too. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now granted, we started with 10 stitches. We skipped over 2, and we're counting the ones that the 2 chains that we missed. So we should have 9. So there's this 2 chains, remember that we skipped over? That counts as a stitch, and that's right here. So those are that's why I mean the second row is technically different from the other ones because it's where you place that stitch. So I'm going to yarn over and make sure I get in that top chain of those stitches that we skipped. And now we have 9, and I have a stitch above every single one. Some of them are a little bit slanty, but they're there. And you can count them. And if you wanted to, you can count every single row. And here is that ridge that we're creating. Here's your first ridge. So let's do another row. And then this really is a row that you'd be repeating the whole time because the end of it is the same. And I got to get my yarn here. It's all tangled. Okay. And you know, I swear I cannot do a video without tangling. So we do our chain 1, which is our turning chain. Doesn't matter, doesn't mean anything, doesn't count. Then again, here's our first loop. Right there's our first, because here's our top loops. So as I'm purposely not even looking at the top, I'm just right away, I'm flipping it flat because I know that I'm going to be working on this. I like this little thing here to show you this particular stitches. I know I'm going to be working on this row right here. So I'm just, these top 2 loops, I'm just flipping it right out of my way, so I'm not even going to get messed up by them. And I make sure that my turning chain's just a little bit loose because it helps me get in here. I yarn over, go to this loop. There we go. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult to get in. Work my half double crochet, and now I can just continue. It goes pretty fast to work my half double crochet all the way across. I can feel my yarn tangling on my hand. Told you I cannot get it through a video without tangling. Okay. I do find that the cotton yarn here is a little bit more stiff, difficult to work with a stitch. It's probably not the best choice for it, but it might be nice for a washcloth for the kitchen. That little ribbing, that little extra texture. So maybe for that I would work it. I wouldn't be planning that it would have much stretch because of the yarn that I've used here. But as I know, I showed you in the other, it does have a nice, and so now we've come to the end, and now I'm just going to take my hook and jam it right in the top part here. I know, bad. There we go. Now it's in. Okay, and there, you don't remember we have this ridge, and when I turn it, we'll have the other ridge. There it is. So that is how you do the half double crochet ribbed stitch that looks like knit. It looks knitted, but it's not. And again, this is a much nicer yarn to work with this stitch. It's very soft and it flows very nice. This has nice straight edges. You could put a border on it easily, or you could have it just the way it is very easily. This would be a lovely hat. As I said, there's many hats and beanies made of this pattern. So I hope that this has helped you. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you and have a wonderful day.